All right. Good morning, everybody. We already have the market open. As a matter of fact, we're about 8 minutes into it, and just a lot of exciting movement. Let me go ahead and share my screen out, and we'll see what's going on. All right. So we're currently looking at the daily chart for AMC, and we have broken up over the $60 mark. When we take a look at that, its current price around 59.08. We'll move down into intraday. It is noteworthy that the volume is picking back up for AMC, and we're still moving on to that hopeful movement of bringing about the short squeeze, and we're sort of trading in a range as you see that taking place across here, right around that $59 mark, all the way down to about the $56 mark. So we went up to almost $61 before pulling back, so we had a nice little wick on that candle right there. To make sure that I'm checking out my comments for you guys. There we go. All right. Torchlight really stepping it up recently. Currently popping over 22% in the start here. It looks like we had a big green candle during the after hours last night. So going into the close and then opening up today, pulled back down and then dropping back down to about 440-ish is about what we're riding at. Look at that volume difference that we have there versus the day before. That is just a ton of trading taking place. So 17 million shares traded, and that looks like it might outdo the entire total of all of yesterday. I mean, so far it has. I mean, we have a significant gap up over what was there before. And so we'll see as this plays out. This volume that we have here is intriguing. It could settle somewhere between these two, that we have this gap, and in the market, gaps naturally get filled. So it is possible that we'll see that get filled in over time. Let's see what the news is on Torchlight. So what they have is they have this declaration of declaring special preferred dividends. So people who own that stock as by the date that they have, and let me see what the date says here. So a special dividend, just in case you're unaware, is one that wasn't really scheduled or planned, but one that gets paid out to the shareholders. And so it looks like it says Torchlight says common shareholders of record on June 24th will be entitled to receive 1 share of Series A preferred stock on a 1-for-1 basis. So if you're looking to be part of that special dividend that they're offering, then buying in order to take advantage of that special dividend would certainly be that you buy the stock and that you own it through June 24th. So then what I think is by the time we see June 25th, we could see a sell-off that we would no longer have these inflated prices that we do right here for Torchlight. Torchlight isn't one that I know a lot of as a company. It's one that I've seen a lot of movement in it before. So if we zoom out, back here's when it first came to my attention, is when you see all of this action happening, and you can see the big sell-off that it had. And we had a really decent run-up, and then the announcement of that special dividend really brought a lot of attention to the stock once again. You'll notice this almost textbook double peak that we have from there to there. So trying to make it up over that 483 would be really hard pressed to make it up over that. I think that this is going to settle back down in the short term, just based off of the news that caused it to happen in the first place. Let me see here. I'll share out my tab so that you can see what I see from Seeking Alpha. All right, so here's what I'm looking at on Seeking Alpha, and you can see that it has shareholders of record on June 24th again. That's the ex-dividend date that we would have. So the 25th could bring, I'd have to see what calendar date that is. So let me see, the 25th, the 24th, the 24th would be on a Thursday. So then Friday the 25th, you could have people selling because the person who owned that stock by the ex-dividend date is the one who receives the money from it. So this one, doesn't say how much the declaration was for the dividend. Let's see if clicking this tells us how much it comes out to be. All right, special dividend, new Series A preferred. Business combination. All right, I'm not currently seeing how much that dividend is going to be, but I think that that's something that really encourages the buying that we have and the holding up through that date. So up through next week, and by Friday, we could likely see a sell-off that we would have. I think a lot of the buying pressure that we see here is encouraged by that special dividend. All right, I want to move back to WEBULL. All right, so going back to WEBULL here, Oxygen making a little bit of noise again. Up 16%. So it had a really decent run up to a double top resist, and then it really dropped off there. We're moving forward with vaccination. I believe they're working on approval right now in Europe, and that's something that's driving the price again. So let's go down, let's zoom in a little bit more to see what's going on the daily chart. Look how beautifully that inverted hammer that we have here comes down and touches the 200-day EMA as an area of support. And it looks like we could possibly come back up to the 50-period simple moving average over time. And that could act as a line of resistance for us, which would at least allow us to know the reasonable downside and upside that it would take for this, for Oxygen as we move forward. Polygon, I have a video coming out at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once YouTube finishes its checks and everything on the recent performance that we have with Polygon, and it is just having a wonderful day. So what we can see in this limited view that we have in WEBULL of Polygon, we see a double bottom support, so that can be really strong support for us. And what's even better is that following that this downtrend, and we only see part of the downtrend here, what we have are three white soldiers, and that's when you have these three large bodied candles that we have. And this is a signal of a bullish reversal from a downtrend like this recent bearish downtrend that we've had. So this is something that could really send us back up into new price territories, at least up to that $2.20 resist. Let me bring in, I'll actually do it on the same screen so that we don't have so much switching around. I'll put coin market cap up there for you so we can see a little bit more of what has been taking place with Polygon recently for its price action. All right, like I said, I'll bring that over to this window so that way it's shared with you as well. And I'll just double check that you guys really can see that on your own screens. There we go. All right, so here we're looking at Polygon on CoinMarketCap. And now I can switch easily between WEBULL and CoinMarketCap, and then we don't have as much switching to go through for you guys and make it a much better viewing experience overall. So let's go to the trading view. So in the trading view, what you'll see is a double top resist right around $2.44. And I believe that was around the peak time for the crypto market before Bitcoin and everything came ripping back down. And then we see a second double top resist. There we go. Zoom in on that. There we go. And then let's see if we can get some horizontal lines drawn up here for you. So we have right here this area of resistance. Like I said, right around 244, 245. And then if we put another one on, we have around the time that Mark Cuban came out and said, hey, Polygon rules. And so we have that double top resist as well that came along with that news. So we see that bullish behavior there as well. And then we have another period of sell-off, likely extending or an extension of what we saw here, just with a positive catalyst in between. Notice we did not put in a new low, so let's put in another horizontal line, this time for support. We actually have this one back here. So around $1.06, which is a fairly big fall from where we're at now at almost $1.70. But Polygon is having a pretty good day. Matter of fact, crypto in general is having a pretty good day. So what we can see is an area of resistance. We can see an area of support, and we can see where it's currently trading in between. So these three white soldiers, what they can lead us to, especially in a strong macro environment for crypto, is that we could see it take us back up to that like $2.20 mark, which would be significantly up from where it's at now. That's over a 30% increase. And I did talk about this in my video. Like I said, it comes out as at 11. YouTube, as soon as it gives me the approvals to immediately put up my videos, I can do it a little bit more timely. In the meantime, until it finishes its checks, it makes no sense for me to put that out there for you guys. So we'll see how this shapes up. And if we take a look intraday, there we go. Let me shrink the scale a little bit. You can again see that resist that we're hitting. We have fairly strong resistance, as a matter of fact. And I'm loving the horizontal lines today. We'll put up another one here for us, right around the $1.70 mark that we keep on failing. But we look at that volume that we have coming out of this, that increase in volume that we have, and the fact that these lows, this time I'll switch from a horizontal line and I'll go to a trend line this way. Look at these lows as they continue to sort of pinch up this way. I know I kind of cut off some of those tails, but we could possibly break out soon. Like within the next couple hours, we could definitely see a break to the upside. And as always, something that would be heavily influenced on this would be what's going on with macro events with crypto in general. So let's go to Bitcoin, but I'm gonna switch back to WEBULL for this one because we can actually see a fair amount with Bitcoin. It'll just be a little bit smoother overall. My apologies, I'm gonna go here. There we go. And Bitcoin has a lot of upward pressure going right now. There's a lot of institutional buying and there's a lot of big money that's in it. And so I think we're going to continue to see a lot of strength coming out for Bitcoin. The ETFs, I was just reading about it yesterday about Cryptoin, I think was the most recent one to get another 45-day extension put on, added on to the for the SEC to make a decision on whether or not to allow another Bitcoin ETF to take place. And they're concerned about whether or not Bitcoin really, at least for the comments that I was reading from the one analyst who's the CPA, who made the comments from the SEC. And, you know, it's about the volatility that we have, how much of an asset it counts for. And for him, he seems hung up on fiat currencies. And that's a legitimate concern. So he says that he can take $1 and he can pay taxes with it. And when we compare that to what we see with Bitcoin, is that we currently can't pay taxes with Bitcoin. So he's saying that there's liquidity and utility in fiat currencies that just isn't there yet for Bitcoin. But honestly, I think it's coming more and more all the time, even if it takes us a while. By the way, look at that. We just keep on bumping up against that 200 period EMA that we have, that is just resisting so beautifully that we have here. And there's been a lot of announcements about the coming death cross that we have that could signal another 50% drop in Bitcoin. I think that because it's anticipated so much, I don't think it's going to be the indicator that causes a drop. And if it does cause a drop in some panic sell kind of moment, I think we're going to see a relatively quick recovery for Bitcoin in the near future. And that will start to put in highs that break this resistance at around 40,000 to 41,000 that we have broken recently, broken over 42,000, broken over 44,000, and then that'll build over time. One of the biggest things that convinces me about Bitcoin's future performance is its adherence to the stock to flow model, and I'll bring that up for you. There you go. All right, so if you just search stock to flow model Bitcoin, you'll find a bunch of different resources on this one. There we go. It should load in just a moment. It's always been a little bit slow for me. There we go. So what we see is that this line is the trend line that we have that's happening for the stock to flow model that we have for Bitcoin. And you'll notice that we do deviate from the model quite a bit, but then it overcorrects and comes back down, and then it eventually tends to follow the trend a little bit better. Again, way overcorrects to the upside, comes back down to the model. Way overcorrects to the upside, comes back down to the model. So whether it's an overcorrection or an undercorrection, we keep on seeing it come back to the model every time. And look how deeply we've deviated from that stock to flow model, historically speaking, over the life of Bitcoin compared to this model that's been generated for us. So as far as deep deviations go, this is probably one of the deeper ones. This one right here has troughed pretty sharply from the model, but again, it corrected over time. And what we see with these plateaus here is the Bitcoin halving events that take place. And also take note of the color of the peaks that, and what we see over here is if you look at the days until the next halving, that as we go from the warm colors, which would mean that a halving just happened, all the way down to the cool colors, down to this purplish color, that would be when the halving takes place. So currently with the yellowish color that we have, we're somewhere about 1,000 days. So a little over 3 years yet before that next halving is anticipated. And so we have that a deep deviation from that. And if you look down here, this is the amount of variation from the model. So that when it goes to the high side, we get red. When it goes to the low side, we get green. And this is one of the lowest that we've gone for deviating below the model's price. This eventually, if that keeps on pulling downward, that's going to be like a rubber band that's going to pull with more and more attention, and it's something that's going to slingshot back upward. And if it does, or when it does, if we look at the price for anticipated by this model for like September, for instance, 85,000 is what we're looking at, which is over double what the price currently is. So for me, looking at this model and carrying forward or inferencing from what has happened to what can possibly happen in the future, as long as this model stays consistent, we could rubber band back up there. But notice every time that we correct to the downside, that we overcorrect to the upside significantly. So by hitting that $85,000 mark, when it does come up, especially if you have more of a significant trough and it does overcorrect, it could take us up more to like a $90,000 or even $100,000 mark before finally pulling back again. So I really do enjoy this model, and I really think it has been very good to us, at least as far as predicting what the future behavior of Bitcoin is going to do. All right, let's see what else we got going on in the stock markets. The Torch is up over 30% now. Polkadot, here we go. This one's interesting. They just recently started their parachain auctions, and it's a 2-week approval process for the different companies that are bidding for spots to take part into the 100 parachain slots that are available, and they run constantly on Polkadot. Polkadot ensures the security and stability of the network, whereas the chains work on the scalability aspect of the crypto markets that are taking place, or the crypto environment, the crypto network that's taking place on the Polkadot blockchain. And so their ticker symbol is, for their token, is DOT, it's DOT. So this is DOT versus the United States dollar. So when we look at this, actually, we'll go back over here to CoinMarketCap. Because again, WEBULL, it's wonderful that they're adding in the ability to see the price performance, but it doesn't show us enough of a history for it to really be all that useful. There we go. So Polkadot is also featured in my video that I made that's running to, that comes out at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So also 11 a.m. Market time for the United States markets that we have. And in there, I talk about the fact that they're most recently to be featured on Coinbase, that they'll actually be tradable starting tomorrow. And the Coinbase effect says that the average of a price jump for coins that are put onto Coinbase as tradable is about 91% over a 5-day period. And today is day 2 of that time. So when you look at the price performance, you can see this large green candle that we have here for June the 14th, somewhere around 4 p.m. Eastern time is when it was announced by Coinbase on their blog that they would start accepting and trading Polkadot. So current users of Coinbase and Coinbase Pro can start depositing their DOT into Coinbase. It does not become tradable to at least Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is noon market time for the US markets. So you can't currently trade Polkadot, or DOT as the token, on Coinbase, but you'll be able to by Wednesday at the earliest, and that's as long as it meets the trading requirements that Coinbase has set forth. And they want to ensure that the market runs smoothly and that there's enough liquidity there, and they anticipate that to happen. So we'll watch that take place. So after this run up that we have some profit taking The volume spike is excellent. It's okay to see that little bit of tapering that we have. We don't have more than a 50% retracement. We do have some resistances to make over, though. So as of right now, it's sort of forming a double top resist on this daily chart. So I'll bring in more of those horizontal lines. So right here's the first resistance that we have to overcome, and then we have two more areas of resistance just on this window. Maybe we should zoom out a little bit to see more. But we also have this double top to contend with. So they're about $1 apart, so about 4% apart from each other. So from that gain from where they're at, and from where it's currently at to the first line of support is somewhere shy, I'd say like 7 or 8% upside from where it's currently trading. And we could see that strength play out over time. Remember, it's a 5-day period for Coinbase. And when I said 91% on average, the problem with averages is that it's really susceptible to outliers. So if you have something that lost a lot of value when it got listed on Coinbase, which there aren't too many, and you have ones that were astronomically successful on Coinbase when they got released, and then everything else was like small in the middle, when you don't see the measures of dispersion and how that data are spread out, that's troublesome, because all you're getting is one single number, and it's hard to really do good statistics off of a single number. So just keep that in mind. What you're looking for statistics, if you're looking to make good inferences, is that you're looking for a collection of outcomes in order to build a case or build a story, to build your more of an accurate probability of what you expect to happen moving forward into the future. So in order to draw those proper inferences. So we have those two small areas of resistance. Let's back out from this. Oh my goodness, is that gorgeous. All right, so this top line right around $27 is also hitting about where these lows are here. So what that sort of does, it can actually be a fairly strong resistance for us right around that $27 mark. So we'll see if the Coinbase news provides us enough momentum for Polkadot in order to break that resistance that we're currently seeing. All right, let's see what other action we have going on here. I talked about Polygon. AMC up about 4%. Excellent. Silvergate Capital. Wonderful. Let's look at some of the losers. All right, Vroom down about 10%. We'll check on that and see what the news is around that. Sometimes I click too much. Sometimes when you see this sort of price action, that all of a sudden that there's a drop, usually from a hard drop is a pretty good bounce. So sometimes you can make an intraday trade out of that, depending on what sort of news there is. Sometimes it's a falling knife and you absolutely shouldn't touch it. So if that drop takes us to like some area of support, for example, then you could use that, and you could set up a short-term play in order to try and catch that bounce. And you could look for, kind of set your risk and reward. I like a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio when we look at that. Let's zoom out and see where the price action currently puts us. And we'll also take a look at the news to see what exactly is going on. So this is the daily chart that we're looking at for Vroom. And we're currently right about there for the low. So that looks like it takes us almost all the way back to the beginning of what's being tracked here. And so it looks like we might have support right around that $40 mark taking place as a pretty firm area of support. So if this thing is going to bounce, and I don't know that it will, I don't know any of the news or anything yet, but we'll check that out. But if it is going to bounce, it might just bounce off that $40 mark that we have. So let's zoom in more and see on the daily where that puts us. Yeah, $40.53 before it turned back around. Let's check the news and then we'll go intraday. Let's see. There you go. So it's a capital raise, and typically with a capital raise, because you have the share dilution, that puts downward pressure on the stock, and so you get a natural drop in it. This one should recover a few percent if that's all it is. Let's take a look at the analyst estimates. So we're above the low. I don't like to see that. What I like to see for the 12-month analyst estimates, I like to see that our current price is trading below what the low analyst estimate is. We have 14 analysts covering this, and let me see here. So out of the 14 of them, that means that we have like 4 of them that say that it's a strong buy. And then we have, let me see what that would be. That would be 3, 4. I think that would be about 6 of them that would call that a buy when we look at that one. So for the analyst estimates that we have, we are below the average, which is a good thing. So there's a fair amount of upside from here, about a 30% upside to the average analyst estimate. So there could be some value left over. It looks like there's a fair amount of bullish behavior on that, which might further the idea that this is going to bounce back up off that 40 to 41-ish dollar area that we have. It could recover nicely from there. Being that it opened right around that 50 period simple moving average that we have, and that's moving upward towards the 200 period. I'm sorry, the 200 day exponential moving average that we have, that could become a golden cross, giving us a bullish signal. We can see that a lot of the volume has gone out of this. So we could see this sort of trading sideways and keep on. The fact that it's narrowing into a wedge right now with that golden cross, this could break to the upside, especially given the analyst price targets are currently, well, the average anyway, is up above its current price of about $40.70. Wow, look at that. So we might have to go down to a lower time frame. This might form up to be a double bottom support that we have, signaling a reversal in the stock price. And like I said, as an intraday trade, or as maybe a small swing play, if I was going to do this, and this is all for entertainment purposes only, I'm not a financial advisor, and this is all on YouTube, just a guy on YouTube. But when you watch this and you watch it possibly bouncing or turning around, this would be about the time that might happen, around 10:30 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or market time. As we watch this play out, that's usually when things start to settle down for the markets. So if we look at the level 2, we can actually see a support wall right around the $4.50 mark. That is a lot of buying pressure that comes in right around there. And so for the low 40.53 that we are posted just below there for buy side orders, and there's not a lot of sell side pressure right now. So looking at the level 2s as I see them, to me, it's just further evidence that this is going to reverse, or at least bounce, and that we're going to see it move upward. So if somebody was to come in and try to scalp this trade, for example, and buy 10,000 shares or whatever, and they did it off of a couple of cents, a place that they might stop is where there's about 50% retracement, right around to the 41, 44 mark. But again, that would come from, let's see. Yeah, so if we actually look at where the majority of the orders are, where the volumes are, 41.35-ish, actually, if we do a band of them, 41.31 up to about 41.42. So it looks like there might be a rather significant bounce from where there's at now, about a 2.5% bounce, and so 2.5% of your money in a single day. I would, if I could do that all year long and consistently make 2.5% and take advantage of that compounding over all of the trading days throughout the year, I would absolutely do it. That would work out very well for me in my favor. So here, I'll put a horizontal line on here for you. You can see where I'm marking that line of support for us. There we go. So there we have that line of support, and I think that we're going to bounce off that, and it could turn around for us. Let's go down to a lower time frame and see what's going on. Look at that. That's gorgeous. So it is failing to break up very high, so we could have a little bit of soft resistance happening here around $40.93, but still 30 cents up. That's almost a 1% difference from where we're at, and depending on the size of your account and the sort of volume that Matthew, this is VRM, it's Vroom. By the way, if you guys ever want to give me any feedback on how readable it is on these charts, just let me know, and I would be absolutely happy to work on making them more readable on your screens. So yeah, look at that as this area of support plays out, that we keep on testing and retesting, and so far we've failed to break support, but we also failed to break up over that. I'm going to put my candle right, or my horizontal line right across the top of the candles, excluding the wicks, like $40.92. So that could be really interesting to watch that play out. Usually with a capital raise, just because they're taking some money in order to expand their business, it's a fairly common thing. You don't want to see a pattern of it like we see with like NNDM, that every time that price runs up, there seems to be another capital raise, despite the fact that Yoav Stern, the CEO for NNDM, says, hey, we got enough money to get us through. We are in a really good cash position to fund our operations into the future. And then the stock price ran up. I think it was like over $10 or something last time they did it. And then they did another capital raise anyway. And for me, who's bullish on NNDM, I'm less bullish because my confidence that they're going to treat the shareholders well, that's an issue for me. So I mean, I would absolutely love to see them ramp up to production numbers where they're able to mass produce using their Dragonfly system. But that gets more into NNDM. So Vroom, my point here is that with a capital raise, a few capital raises here and there over the history of the company is to be expected. That's one of the reasons why they would turn out to public markets, is for further funding in order to expand their operations. But in return, as shareholders, we want to see a return on that investment, either through their dividends, which if they're a technology company, dividends aren't often paid for those. But usually future value in the company is something that would trade in, sometimes through a higher multiple, but a lower multiple as time goes on, as they become higher top line and bottom line, that they have more revenue and more income as a result, more earnings per share. And then, we could be investors or traders around any of that. So right now we have to be a little bit careful on what's shaping up. What we have is a large red candle, and then we get lower tops. This is showing downward pressure. This is the bears trying to win on this one. We could see this one break support, so we got to be careful. Let's check the market bias that we got here. Yeah, okay, well, this is interesting. So when we look at this, check out what the NASDAQ is doing, what the Dow is doing. Here, I'll make it bigger for you. There we go. So NASDAQ pressing down, Dow Jones pressing down, S&P pressing down. So we could possibly, because of the broader market bias that we have going on here, this downward pressure, I think, is going to turn around on us. Typically, we see these deep troughs, and then as we move towards 1030, we start to see those markets relent a little bit. This could be on retail sales news. I haven't checked what retail sales have said yet. If that comes out especially strong and signals too strong of a recovery, that could be bad for our growth plays. And I believe that Vroom is also one of those high growth plays. It's not one that I follow. It's just one that I'm somewhat familiar with. There we go. Tomorrow is when we have, pardon me, Jerome Powell come out and speak. Oh, there you go. We just broke a little bit of support. Not too significantly. It is new low, $4.50. There we go. Like I said, that overall market bias could be something that's causing a little bit more of that downward pressure to take place. And so it's possible that we're not quite ready for that bounce. But what I was talking about before then, why I wanted to check the market bias, is because what we have is a flagpole here and then a pennant shape coming up. And this would be a bearish pennant. And the fact that it's not symmetric, that was slanted downward, which is the direction that it was currently headed, can be a signal of a breakout to form a new bottom that we have here. And that breakout that we have could be about as long as this flagpole that we have here. That's typically how it's read when you see patterns like this one. So let's see where our new support is found. Somewhere, oh wow, getting a lot of buy side pressure, outweighing the sell side pressure that we have. So it could turn around on us. We'll see. Like I said, that $40 market, we did see it as sort of an area of support when we looked at the dailies, and then it can also be an area of psychological support because it is a round number. So people could be considering Vroom like a $40 stock, and because we have it in our heads that it's like a $40 stock, then that could act as an area of support for us. So similarly, on the resistance side of things, if we have a stock that we have in our mind that it is a $40 stock, then it's going to be much more reluctant to go to be a $50 stock that you would find resistance somewhere around like that $50 mark, for example. So something that might be a little bit similar to that would be taking a look at Ethereum. So when we look at Ethereum, I think that people have it in their minds that it's a $2,000 or $2,500 token right now, or Ether token, when we look at Ethereum like this. So right now we're sitting about 25.73, and if we go towards the middle of this sideways trading action that we have, the middle of it's right around $2,500. So in my mind, I think that the fact that we keep oscillating around the 2,500 is that right now the price that we have associated with Ether is that it's about a $2,500 token. So between 2 and 3,000. So what does it do? It bounces below, well, 2,000 and, well, about 3,000. And it is tapering a little bit, and we don't really see the same bullish momentum that Bitcoin is taking. Even if you look at the RSI, we're still rocking just below 50, which means that we're still a little bit on the bearish side. I think Ethereum is waiting for a catalyst, and I think a lot of that breath holding, I'll call it, is over the Ethereum 2.0 staking and the fact that it's not yet proof of stake, that it still runs on proof of work, and it's still kind of sluggish. So for the fact that we're in a transition period technology-wise with Ethereum, I think it also gives us a period of transition in the token price as well for Ether. So watching that play out. Polygon, by the way, I don't think that is the same situation. I think that Polygon is a way to sort of get exposure to Ethereum technology because it is a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. However, it doesn't have the same limitations that Ethereum does, but it still leverages the security and stability of Ethereum in its operations. So it's another reason why I'm bullish on Polygon and why I'm bullish on Ethereum. I think it just being the general purpose that it has advantages that Bitcoin just doesn't have, and it has that sort of economic moat around it that other currencies don't have. Another one that I really like is Cardano. And if we're going to look at Cardano, we better do it over here. WEBULL doesn't trade it yet. I wish that they would hurry up and start trading that. You can find it on Coinbase, by the way, and Coinbase Pro. And honestly, here at CoinMarketCap, they tell you what other exchanges you can trade Cardano and any other currencies on. So that can be a nice place to find the one that you choose. I would choose wisely, though, for the exchange. Good morning, Take Action. All right, so this is all time for Cardano, and you can see the recent action that's taken place here. Basically, this one would be like a research-backed version, and I know that some people are not going to like that I say this, but it's like a research-backed version of Ethereum that Charles, I believe his name's Hoskinson. I'm terrible with pronunciation, so I apologize when I mispronounce names. But he worked with Vitalik on Ethereum, and then eventually they had philosophical differences with their approach to cryptocurrencies. So Hoskinson went off and made his own and called it Cardano. And this one, if we take from a software perspective, I like to think of it sort of like Microsoft and Apple, that in recent years, what I've known them to do is that Microsoft will rapid prototype and get something out, and it would be sort of a quick and dirty approach and then improve it over time. And Apple's more about that clean user experience, that they might not be the first to have something, but when they do release it, they want to release it so that the user experience for it is clean, smooth, easy, and that it functions as intended. And I'm not here to debate whether or not they reach those goals, but I think that it is something that we should keep in mind when we look at these. I think it's a nice analogy. Let me go to the trading view. And what we're getting is the daily chart here for Cardano. And it looks somewhat similar to what we've seen for Ethereum. And this one has been referred to as an Ethereum killer. And some people have said that it takes some of those issues that Ethereum has, such as scalability, and really optimizes that and cleans it up so that it's much smoother and it's much more reliable in its implementation. So thinking about Ethereum sort of as like a 1.0 attempt, and then Cardano came through and addressed the issues that Ethereum was having, and ends up with an overall cleaner product. So for me, Cardano, I think it's great, honestly. And I don't know that I would be one to own Ethereum or Cardano. Instead, I just own both. And I think Ethereum, having the number of dApps that it does surrounding it, and then it's the place to go for DeFi, in my opinion, for decentralized finance. Cardano is building that. It's a little bit newer than what Ethereum is. It's not the first to market the way that Ethereum is, and I think that it has a lot of ground to gain on its rise. So it looks like, let me see, do they give us a market cap over here? Let's see, trading volume, market cap, there we go. Currently rocking about $50 billion. And fully diluted market cap. Okay, so up to $70 billion that we're looking at there. Yeah, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't hold. And again, I'm talking for myself here. This is my own opinion for my own trading, and you guys should form your own opinions from your own research for your own trading. You can see the little bit of resistance that's currently meeting right here, but the lows are trending upwards, the highs are trending upwards, and so we just need some positive catalyst to go along with that for Cardano, much like what we need for Ethereum in general. So I think that we're going to see Ethereum and Cardano sort of play off each other, at least for the current time being. All right, let's see what else we have here. I'm going to flip back over to the gainers here. Wow, Torchlight has now made it up to 45%. So while other stocks were dropping off, they've only been picking up momentum. And you can see the battle that's taking place over the buy and sell sides, that they're currently about even, and it looks like we're hitting resistance. So the MACD that I have down here, and we're looking at the 5-minute chart, through a buy signal the last time we made it about to even from where we were at when the market opened. And then we had another somewhat strong volume period here up to another area of resistance. So 523 up to about 530 or so. And so we'll watch how this thing plays out. We haven't quite hit a sell signal where we see that cross yet. And importantly, when we look at the RSI doesn't say that this is overbought yet. Just an astounding gain. Here, I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see the price action that it's had since it announced the special dividend that it's putting out. And just an incredible trading day for Torchlight. AMC, wow, up to rocking up almost 10%. So we've actually hit a new high today. So we started off early with a double top resist on the 5-minute, and you know, that's just a smaller time frame. With a larger time frame, and we combine these candles, we'd see a very, actually here we'll go to the 10-minute to see it. There we go. We see a very long wick coming off the top of this thing, and off the 10-minute, you can see a little bit more of the rise that it's having. So for me, I don't do a lot of intraday trading. Every once in a while, I'll scalp a trade just to make some lunch money if it's a highly active trade that I happen to get into at the right time. So this top that we had at around like 58 to 50, I'm sorry, it's $59 to $60 that we've currently broken up over that, and we got some pretty strong volumes. The fact that it's sustaining with the way that it did, that's about on pace from where it was before. That's good news for us. Okay, I'm going to drop down to a lower time frame again. All right, check that out. So something to watch for as we're looking at this chart as it plays out. The fact that we've gone up over this is a good thing. But when you have decent volume like this, and you have a large green body candle like this, and then a narrow range red body candle that stays near the top, that you don't get it retracing too deeply, that's a sign that you're going to have another break to the upside following. And then you can see that happen again. So large green body candle, narrow range candle. It doesn't matter if the narrow range one is green or red, just as long as it's narrow range, and then another breakout to the upside there. The bulls do get tired. I don't know when they're going to tire on this one. I'm not seeing the volume that would indicate that the short squeeze is happening, but we certainly do have a lot of price action on this one. So we could see it because the short squeeze is still expected to be imminent. I don't know that part. We are getting into overbought territory, and it looks like the last time that happened, we had a quick drop right back down to the downside. I do still hold my shares. As I said, I purchased them, and I'm hodling them because I would like to show solidarity with the apes here, because my own purposes is that I'm a big fan of equitable opportunities in the marketplace. Looks like we're getting close to $64 a share, and let's go out to an even higher time frame yet. Actually, let's look at the daily chart. We haven't made it back up to that $72 mark, but man, are we making a run for it. And the fact that it's taken a little bit more time really to push us, I don't know if we'll see that. You know, we could run into a little bit of resistance. Matter of fact, if you look at the price wall that we have here, about $64 a share, a little bit over $64.20. And this thing jumps around a lot, so it's still hard to track. And now, wow, it just got liquidated. Lots of buying and selling and settling those trades. And just watch how the sell side pressure reacts. And now it looks like it's going to the higher 64s. till we really hit that and a little bit more resistance. Ooh, this thing moves quick. Wow. It's always nice to watch them take off. I think they were about 9 or 10% when I switched over to AMC, and now we're back over. We're at 12.5% right now, and still running strong. So this could be an incredible day for us as we move forward with AMC. All right, let me see some of the other movers that we have here. Lordstown sort of bouncing back. Their stock price, because of their going concern that their cash burn's too intense. We are building an area of support for them right around the $9 mark. So people calling it sort of like a $9 stock. We could see that support hold. And if you were looking for a short-term play, and remember I said after a big sell-off that you typically get a bounce. Well, there was the bounce, and it took us up to about 965. And it's not surprising that that's about where this wick is over here. We went a little bit over it up to 970. Let's look at the markets and see if they're turning around. Looks like they're dropping a little bit harder. We're getting close to that 1030 mark. Hopefully by like between 1030 and 11 is when we start to see things sort of even out and turn around. So maybe around for the NASDAQ here around the -2.1 or 0.21%. Dow looks like it's turning around. S&P looks like it's turning around, and Dow just fell off a cliff a little bit. So I don't think that'll be a falling knife, but NASDAQ is typically the one that takes recovery news especially hard out of the three big markets. All right, so to any of you watching, if there's any specific stocks that you want me to see or talk about or cover, just let me know and I can switch over and take a look at those. I absolutely do not mind telling you what I see on the charts. If it's a company that I follow, I can tell you a little bit more. If it's not a company that I follow, I can at least look at the charts and the analyst estimates and some of the news that surrounds them and see what's taking place. All right, since we are actually getting close to that 1030 hour, I'm going to start wrapping things up here. Oh, I'm sorry, ABXK. All right, Angelito, no problem. Let's do it. So ABXK. There we go. I just want to make sure I get the ticker right. ABXK, ABXL, ABXT. I don't see it. Is it on the United States markets or is it on a different market? Would you happen to know? We'll go to Google Finance. Sometimes they're good for showing us. Oh, AVXL. Okay. Well, I did see that one. We'll go back into that one. There we go. Woo! Did I see a drop there? Well, we'll have to wait and see. We go to this one. AVXL. There we go. All right, down about 14% today. So it looks like they had a big day yesterday and then a lot of settling today. Let's take a look at the news and see what the catalyst might happen to be. Price target raised to $25. That was about 4 hours ago. And it's currently trading around 18, so $7, about a 40% upside from where it currently sits. There you go, raised to 25. Okay, excellent. It keeps the buy rating while it's surging today. So this looks like it's from yesterday's news. Biopharm, that makes sense for the volatility. Keep engaged, development, differentiating therapeutics. There we go, Parkinson's disease. Oh yeah, well, listen, as somebody who knows people who have been affected by like Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's, friends, family members, anything that they can do in this genomic data, so it's in the genomic space, anything they can do to improve the quality of life or even treat or even cure wherever it is that they happen to fall in, that would be absolutely astounding. They're just devastating diseases. All right, so check out this, what we have in the RSI here. When we look at the 30-minute chart that we have, we aren't in oversold territory, but we're nearing it. If we go below 30, that could signal that it's oversold. And typically when you get big movements like this big ramp up, you get some correction back down to a more normalized price from where it's at. So we were at $15 per share, and I believe at 25 was the mark from that. So that's 10. That's 66 or 67% upside from where it was at 2 days ago with the new price target of $25. And it looks like people got fairly excited about that. Some of this drop that we could see could be in the overall markets. So we're seeing downward pressure there. But then we could also see correction back from these highs that we have here. So if you're in this one, no problem, by the way. I type in the wrong ticker all the time. I'm not coordinated. So the price action that we're seeing here, it could correct, it could continue to drop, it could continue to settle. So depending on how you're playing this one, are you playing it as a momentum play, which it picked up significant momentum in the second half of yesterday's trading hours, and then it's settled from there since then, and it's on much lower volume, so this is much lower conviction selling that we have taking place. You could still have a significant number of people that are holding on to this stock for the long term. I honestly don't know enough to say anything one way or another over the long-term outlook of this company. I can tell you in the short term that if you, based on the price action, trying to trade now from what we see could be trying to catch a falling knife, that it could continue to sell back down, and then you could end up being a bag holder, being out like 20 to 30% of your money. So if we look at the other price action, I would say right across there, we could see it settle back down to about $16.31, and maybe down to the top that we had there. So let's just call it about 16 bucks. So if this thing does settle based off the recent action that it had, about $16. If this is about FDA approval for them, FDA approval could be a huge catalyst, something that's going to push up their price. And really, especially if they're the only person in their space, that could be something that could really help them out profitability-wise, and having the intellectual property rights, or whatever they call it, the patent rights for whatever formula it is that they have in their treatments, or the their process for the treatment. Analyst estimates, $17 is the low. Not bad, up to 25. We have 4 analysts covering it. 3 of them are buys. 1 of them is a strong buy. HC Wainwright is probably that 25 that we see right there. Looking at the level 2, even if we look at that price wall that we have just below $18 per share, is where we're finding a lot of support. And it looks like a lot of the sell side pressure comes in the north side of 18, just south of $19 per share. So if I could ask you, Angelito, is this a long-term play for you, or is it a short-term play for you? Like, are you gonna hold it for a few hours, days, weeks, or is this more months or even years at a time? What's your window? Short term, gotcha. All right, so what we see here when we look at this for the 5 minutes, so this dropped significantly, and then it sort of had a flag formation going up this way, but with that resist, it reverses. But notice how much the height of this flagpole, for instance, matches the height of this flagpole that we have here. So that could be very indicative of the breakout that we have, that we see that happening. So this could happen to find support somewhere around where it's at right now. And it could trade up, but it is a lot of downward pressure that we have. As on this time frame, we are seeing oversold. This bottom on the RSI compared to this bottom, this one's a little bit higher. So if we see this turn around back up into this area, below 50 is still bearish, so it could still drop. But if we see the lows building and the highs building, and we make it back up in bearish territory, we could start to see signs of a reversal. So depending on what happens, like I said, I think that we're seeing settling from the news come out, being surprising and really being a positive catalyst to send upward. This is one that's coming back down for us. Let's look at the RSI and the MACD on the daily chart. All right, so if you look at the daily, we actually have over overbuying, which given this volume that we have of almost 17 million versus today's selling of 2 million, comparatively speaking, I know that today is not out yet, but I still don't expect to see the same sort of volume because most of the volume will happen by like 11. And well, we're closer to 11 than 10 by now. We're not going to see that same sort of conviction. So what we could have with yesterday is people buying in, more trying to capitalize on that 12-month price target of that $25, trying to catch that upside. So I don't know that we will see a complete reversal and settling back down to these prices. We could over a longer time horizon, and then based on the results that they get coming out from their treatments over the next 12 months, we could see a build net price. But if they get shut down or for some other reason that their products or services aren't considered proprietary or specific to them, that could be something that could also kind of wash out their share price. All right, I'm going to step out for now because it is getting a little bit late and this live stream is going on a little bit long. So I thank you guys for stopping by. I'll be back again tomorrow prior to the market open. My goal is 9:15, and based on the technical, I'm still trying to get some of the bugs out of the system for how I approach things here in the setup that I have going. As I work out those bugs and get things smoothed out, for instance, my good microphone still won't get recognized by this software. I got it to recognize it once and then not again. So right now you're hearing the built-in microphone on my laptop, so I apologize for any distortion or static that you might be getting. It does do an okay job. I think it's reasonable, but it's nothing like the microphone that I bought separately. So once I get that figured out to find out where that problem's happening, we can clean that up. All right, so thanks again for stopping by, and if there's anything else that I can do for you guys, hit me up in the comments, and also check out my videos. Like I said, 11 o'clock is my next video coming out, and that features Polygon crypto and Polkadot crypto as well. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing and hitting the like button and helping more people to see these videos when they come out, the more support that you guys show me, the more support that I can return. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you have a great day.